We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Mavs Party. It's our secondary live show where you as a fan can join. If you are new to this show or haven't done it before, in the YouTube live comments, there is a pinned post where you can click on a StreamYard link to join via your computer or through your phone, where we can talk a little hoop real quick. We had a little bit of an unorthodox evening tonight with Josh running into some difficulties before our show, so I went ahead and went live on our normal After Dark show with a couple of Mavs Moneyball writers, Isaac and Matt, that joined. So if you are listening on the audio stream, go back and listen to that. But Josh is joining us here in the Mavs Party and before we kick off to anybody that wants to join the show, I wanted to give you a chance to kind of speak your piece on this game, since you were very frustrated with the team in that first half.
Yeah. I thought the first half, it looked like a team that was content with the split. Because it was just the mental mistakes. Like, it wasn't just like missed shots or anything like that. It was like they weren't boxing out. Luka was doing the thing that he did in game one where he just wasn't contesting or closing out. I feel like PJ looked like he got lobotomized before tip off. He made so many goofy plays in the first half that were just so detrimental, like that foul 90 feet from the rim with like 20 seconds left in the first quarter that gave the Wolves 2 free points because they were in the bonus. So it was just weird. Just they were unfocused and sloppy, and Minnesota couldn't. And the story of the game was Minnesota never could shake them. Like, the Mavericks gave that game away on a silver platter for the first 24 minutes or so, and the best the Wolves could do was a 12-point lead, and that was kind of the game. Like,
yeah.
Any other time the Mavericks are playing, a good team and they're playing that poorly, they should have been down by 20 or 25. Like, the fact that it was 12 was really indicative of how much the Wolves are just kind of struggling to do some things on their end of the floor. So, yeah, not surprised, not totally shocked at the second half result. Mavericks kind of tightened things up. I thought that, I didn't get to listen. Obviously, I joined late, but before we get to the fans, my main thing was, I think this was one of Luka's best games ever of his life.
Ooh. And
I know that's kind of weird. Like, he had like 46 in a game 7 against the Clippers. He's had 73 points in a regular season game. He had a 60-20-20 game. But I think, considering the stakes, the environment, what was on the line, and kind of his impact on the game offensively and the way he passed, like, this might have been his best passing game ever. When you combine that with a ludicrous game winner over, a 4-time defensive player of the year, like, it was ridiculous. Like, his passing, like, everything was on point. He had 13 assists. He had 4 turnovers. Probably should have had 20 assists.
Sure. There were a couple of times where he's just finding guys out of like a blender, and their shots were so wide open that they missed.
Yeah, the Wolves were outrageous in their coverage, where in game 1 it was clear that it was kind of weird. I almost feel like they overcorrected because they were playing drop, and they were kind of just letting Luka and Kyrie play 2-on-2 and take contested twos. And that, I mean, the Mavericks did pretty well against that, but I wouldn't say the Mavericks had an amazing offensive game in game one. It was their defense that won them game one, especially in the second half. And the Mavericks made threes because the Wolves were like, okay, because in the game one, they played drop and they played 2-on-2 and they stuck to the shooters. They took away the corners and they're like, all right, Luka, Kyrie beat us in 2-on-2 inside the arc. And they made enough shots, but the defense was good. And then in game two, it was like they overcorrected and they're like, okay, we're going to trap now. We're going to trap. We're going to blitz. We're going to hedge. And that opened up the threes. And I think the Mavericks shot over 40% from three in this game. They made 12 threes after making 6 in game one. 12 is still not a lot. They still missed a lot of open shots, but they gave up way more open threes. And Luka, like, you can't put 2 on Luka for an entire game. And they kind of did. Like, Luka will destroy it. And he did. And Lively was incredible in the short roll. The Mavericks missed a lot of open shots from role players, but like his passing was just like everything was on the money. Like, he's got two big defenders on him, and every single pass was almost picture perfect. Like, some of those passes for those Lively dunks where he's just manipulating the defense with his eyes, and he's looking one way and throwing the ball another.
The Luka look away pass feels like my football comparison is like when Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill, and it was like, well, we're just going to throw the football down there. He'll get it. Because he got Karl Anthony Towns so bad that I thought Finch was going to tear his other knee as he got up screaming at him, because he kept his eyes on PJ in the corner, and Luka just finds him. I mean, we've said this for years because we know, and we're a part of it. If you don't want to play with Luka Doncic, it's because you don't want easy shots.
Yeah. It was crazy. I think the Mavericks, it was so like, because sometimes Luka gets a little sloppy with the ball. Like, that's not even a real big criticism. It just happens. And when you have the ball as much as he does, it's like understandable.
Yeah.
Like, everything was on, like, it was just, everything was right in the shooter pocket or right, like, Lively's upper chest. So like, he's just catching and finishing immediately. Like, the accuracy on his passing tonight was just outrageous. And he was in total control of the game, especially in the second half offensively. And that was why the Mavericks won, because they have Luka and the Wolves don't. Like, you just looked at how the Wolves tried to get offense in the fourth quarter and most of the second half. And it's like, it was like pulling teeth for them to get good shots. And
Josh, I have concerns. I have concerns that you're getting pulled into Tron. And that we're going to lose you. We're going to lose you to the Matrix. This is an incredible glitch. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to let. There we go. There we go. All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We got 6 people waiting.
Yeah. Get to people.
We're going to get to people waiting. So I'm gonna we got, and it's all people that I like. So I'm going to try to go in order, though. I'm going to bring my friend Jason Gallagher up second after Mr. Doe Dang, because Jason probably has work to do because he works all the time. Doe, what's going on tonight? How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Finally had the strength to stay up and talk to you guys. Sorry I missed your birthday celebration. Huh?
Are you feeling okay these days?
Kick cancer in the nuts the 3rd time. I just had a tumor removed and my right kidney removed. So
what I'm talking about, man. I hope you feel all right. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Oh, yeah. I think, just like Josh was saying, the second quarter was a critical moment, especially when we were able to make a run back. We started stealing the ball and pushing it up tempo. That's one thing I would like to see a little bit more of. But overall, I mean, I can't complain. I mean, 2-0, we stole both games.
Sure, sure. This one is much more of a theft because the Wolves actually played better. But I talked about this in the first show. The sense of inevitability I feel with this team is starting to get a little spooky.
Yeah, it's a little eerie, just like the other caller said right before the end. I'm a little bit scared of retro Miami, South Beach 2006, so I just got to take a deep breath and enjoy it for the time it is, and hopefully we won't come out lax the next game, because these guys are talented. We barely won both times.
Yep.
but there's a lot of room for growth still. I mean, if we push the ball a little bit more, and keep on playing with intensity consistently, I think we have a shot of going 4-1. Because man, 4-0, that's tough. I mean,
Real
in
tough.
any league, really tough.
Though you would like some of my group chats and friend groups that I'm in with other NBA fans. If the Mavericks happen to sweep the Wolves, I'm going to be. You won't be able to reach me. I will just be ascended to a higher plane. So, well, man, you got anything else for us?
No, just happy belated birthday. I'm glad to say hello for you and wish you a belated happy birthday.
Appreciate that, man. As always, we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully Sunday night.
Yes, sir.
All right. Coming up next here is the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Gallagher, and that incredible wallpaper to his right. What's going on, Jason?
What's up, brother? How we doing?
Is that you and Luca?
We are here to talk some shit. And Josh, and I'm so sorry you have to listen to this because it's going to be utter nonsense, my friend. It's the exact kind of stuff that you probably dislike, but
no,
he's not that dick.
No, I'm not gonna rain on your parade. Have fun, man.
Okay,
Mavs are up 2-0. Do what you gotta do.
That's right. And we are legends, and that is where I'm at. I am that was a really fun game. It validated a lot of things that we have said for a long time, not to get all Skip Baylessy, but it did. And it felt good. It felt good to watch the guy we've been saying, hey, is a different type of basketball player turn out to be that way, because you didn't get a lot of it in Oklahoma City, but you got it here. We got that Luka, and that just feels so freaking good when it happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't recall any other Luka game winners this year. Am I misremembering any? I'm remembering amazing Luka passes, like the PJ game winner that got waved off because that guy from Cleveland drilled the 60-footer.
Yeah.
And then they did it again where I'm pretty sure PJ scored a game winner.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember any Luka like Mark Followell screaming and shrieking and breaking my television with Luka magic. Nothing like that.
Maybe that Nets game where he made like 4 threes in the final 3 minutes where they all got increasingly more difficult with that like hook shot three.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that was a game winner though, or if they were like up 1, but
that was Luka breaking the matrix with his kind of nonsense. I mean, it's talking about this series has been lots of fun.
Yes,
at least for me, because there's so much about the NBA is narrative driven. That's what people like to talk about. They like the drama, they like the gossip, they like the non-basketball stuff. So what happens, and we're content people, we make stuff. Sometimes you pre-plan and you say, you know what, I want to cover this because this is what I think is going to happen. And then your work meets the reality of what's happening. And what's so much fun about this is people are having to revise how they feel about Luka right now live as things are going on. And what I want to sort of get off my chest is that if you don't like Luka, I get it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
but he's fucking awesome. And if you don't think so, you do not know ball.
Say it. Yeah. And honestly, like I was impressed. Given that he is the 4th best player under 25, I was really impressed by his performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the second best player under 25 is 2 of 8 from the restricted zone or restricted section in this series.
Anyway.
Well, he's so tired.
I know.
He's so tired. Can you believe it?
I've told you this before. I've told you this before as a content with that can control the levers of large YouTube channels and such. Putting Luka in the title of things, that's what makes him early LeBron from the entertainment aspect, is that if you put him in any title, it's going to get clicks. I know. We've done it. We've built shows around him because we need a few extra bucks a certain month or whatever. So I kind of get it. But like when you're, ESPN and you're like, God, Jokic is our best player. I know for a fact that Jokic doesn't produce quite the amount of clicks that someone like Luka does. Then you start to build weird narratives and you start to say weird things and you start to do weird things. Like Luka's up 1-0 in the Western Conference Finals. And then someone's like, hey, if I could redo my first team all NBA, I'd take Luka off and put Jalen Brunson on. It's like, that's all that is just like content. It's just
Yeah. It's really good content.
But
that's
why. That's why it is up to people like me with nothing to lose to get out there on these Twitter streets, make fun of people. If the Mavs win the title, they might have to just destroy. They might have to unplug Twitter.
Sure.
The amount of times I'm going to at Matt Moore, it's not. It's
did Mr. Moore had a mea culpa tonight? Did anybody else see it?
I do love him. I really do.
He had he what did he say here? Because somebody, like 9 people sent it to me. He said Luka Doncic is a winning player. I accept being an idiot. Look, everybody rips on my guy, and I get it because he's frustrating. You ain't going to hear Skip Bayless do that on Monday morning.
Certainly not. And it takes and we've all been wrong about things. Kirk, you and I were wrong about Kyrie.
I was wrong about Jalen Brunson. I wanted him traded from the team like 35 times. I wanted Jason Kidd fires. Who fucking cares?
Yeah,
this is great. Like, enjoy the winning. And it's so great.
But this type of game was particularly very fun. And it I don't know. I can't believe this team is what it is. And as I've sort of been thinking about the why of it all, I can't remember an NBA playoffs where the ancillary pieces mattered so much. It just feels so crazy. I feel like after every single game, whether it be the Thunder or whatever, it was, so-and-so, the X player is not going to go off like that again.
Yep.
And that feels like it happens after every single playoff game. And it's like one of my favorite parts about this Dallas team is they have so many of those guys. Now, not a lot showed up tonight, but luckily you have 2 of the best closers in the NBA. And it's just like this team, the way it's built, if Maxey comes back, that's, I mean, the ability to play however they want. Like, that's the thing about Minnesota too, is that like they're the best defense, but I don't know how much they can change things up. I don't know. You know what I mean? And Dallas, for those who have been watching every second of every game, are fully aware they can play a variety of style, especially defensively. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch Lucas scream at people like he's a psycho. It's just good shit. Yes.
Thank you so much for hanging out. Do you have anything else you want to get off your chest?
Not really. Josh, it's good to see you, my friend.
Oh, yeah, it's good to see you.
You should have came to the party, you jerk.
I know. We can talk about why later.
You have a life and a job and live outside the state. That's why.
It has a lot to do with work and family and things like that.
Are you kidding? I just like sassing people. Come on, I did that. My own parents couldn't.
I'm coming to Dallas for like 3 or 4 days to go
nice.
to 3 and 4. Perhaps you and I can grab a lunch. I'll buy.
I still have so much beer. Like I've been trying.
I was gonna say I'll buy you an iced tea, whatever you want, buddy.
That's lovely. All right, man. We'll talk soon.
See ya.
Josh, you keep rubbing those eyes. If you want to head on out of Dodge, I will hold the fort here.
No, I think I'm going to go because I want to write something.
Yeah, go.
No. I feel stupid. I'm not rubbing my eyes. Did
you steal PJ Washington's contacts?
I think I did. A gnat flew into my eye right as I was blinking. And I think I killed it with my blink, and I'm trying to get it out, which is like the stupidest thing I think I've ever done.
Mavs Moneyball writer dies of plague. Excellent. Yeah. Good to know. All right, you get some sleep. We'll talk later, okay?
All right, bye.
All right, coming up next from across the world, Sudoshan. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Kirk.
Good morning. What is going on?
First of all, a happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you kindly.
And this might be the best birthday week for me. Two conference finals wins to kick it all off. And now I actually don't know how to feel. I don't know whether I should be like super excited or I should be dreading what comes next.
No, you should be excited because these feelings don't happen as often as you'd think, even with unbelievable players on your team. You live up to it right now because you know what? Maybe in game 3, something bad happens and the Mavericks get smacked. But, as Ryan Bridgeford just said in the chat, Mavericks 3-point regression game coming. Though they actually did shoot okay tonight. They shot 38% from distance. So we'll see where things go. What'd you think of the game?
It was, it was something. I don't have words for it, actually. The first half, it was like, again, we played like ass. And that's the one thing I can't believe I'm agreeing with Charles Barkley in this, is that we won 2 games when we didn't even play that well.
I think what the Mavericks are showing is that like, there's there's a phrase in American football where you want a player to be, it's a ridiculous sounding, it's not grammatically correct, but it's to be more multiple, which is to say it's a short form way of saying being able to do a lot of different things. And these Mavericks can win a lot of different ways. We started to see that shortly after the trade deadline when they were winning games despite not hitting their 3-point shots. And so they can get down in the mud. They can score points in the paint. They can score points from the outside. They can rely on their superstars. They can rely on their bench players. Different games call for different things. And that's one thing that I think the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for, is figuring out where the pressure points are on the Wolves and squeezing. And they're really making it work.
Yeah, and that's what gives me more 2011 vibes more than 2006 vibes. Because it feels like even when you're, more than anything right now, the NBA feels like a 15-point lead is nothing. But I mean, in 2011, even if we were 15 down, we knew like, okay, we got this. We'll figure it out.
I agree.
And this team gives the same kind of, sorry, excuse me. This team feels like it's got the same kind of calmness when it comes to all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like it.
And another thing is that, do you think that Luka actually follows the ringer and actually reads these articles? Because it feels like they post an article and then like 2 days later, Luka is just shit talking everyone around him.
No, but I do think the coaching staff actually reads a fair amount of stuff, and I think that the front office does too, and I think that they will then push things strategically to certain players at certain times. I do think that's something.
Yeah, it's part of like the hype talk at the beginning of the game. Okay, go guys, play good defense. Luka, they just made you the fourth best under 25 player, and then that's it. That's the rest of the game afterwards.
Man, it's really fun rooting for a team that wins, right?
Yep, definitely.
You got anything else for us?
No, that's all I got.
All right, have a great day, man.
Yes, take care of yourselves.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
All right, coming up next is my man Harold, also staying up really late. Harold, what's going on?
I don't know if I'm going to get any sleep tonight, Kirk. I mean, the other night, when they won, I was sitting up hoping that Bill Simmons was going to put on a pod because I wanted to hear his ass, kind of like give in and be like, you know what, maybe the Mavericks are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I was looking for at the beginning of the game was, I was feeling really good and thinking like, okay, I really think that we can do this. We could beat the Timberwolves. But what I wanted to check out was, maybe the Timberwolves, they're going to come out and they're going to smoke us like they did Denver, in game 2. And they did Denver at the end of game 7. Maybe they're just going to smoke us tonight. And if they do, then that means that, well, maybe this is really going to be a tough series. So what ended up happening was, and as you saw, we were losing by 7, then by 8, then by 10. But I was watching the Mavericks, and it just seemed like they weren't boxing out. They weren't really hustling as much as the Wolves. So it really made me feel pretty good. And I sent you like a message, like probably sometime in the second quarter, where I said, I feel even more confident. Mavs, I wrote Mavs in 5. And then they got down by 18, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know. And I told my wife, if we can get it to like 10 by halftime, we're going to win this game. Just because I could tell that we are better than this team. And we ended up winning, and it was just exactly.
So I don't really listen to the halftime show because I'm usually working on something, but I feel like it was either Charles Barkley or Draymond Green also said that point, which was like, this lead should be bigger for the Wolves. This lead should be bigger. And one of my group chats that has a bunch of non-Mavs fans, one of my friends said, if I'm a Wolves fan, I'm terrified right now. And it's crazy because the Wolves are they were the best defense for the entirety of the regular season, and being down 12 points to them in my mind felt not like too much, but just like a really tall mountain to climb. And the Mavericks did that in the fourth quarter. They were down 7, and then like within 2 minutes they're up 1. Like the Mavericks are just capable of really incredible offensive bursts.
Right. And that's goes so well with our defense. And I think the reason that we're still keep staying in these games is because, we are getting stops. We'll get down by 10 and 12, and then we're getting stops, and we'll just stay at 12 and stay at 12 and stay at 12. And then boom, we got Kyrie and Luka to just kind of help us come back in the end. And I think, teams just can't keep with us in the fourth quarter when we got these two stars and yet hitting these shots. And unfortunately for the Wolves, MJ, he didn't come through tonight, I guess, but we're so used to Jordan, and he's scary. When you got Michael Jordan on the court, it is scary though.
Sure.
You gotta admit, Kirk.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel bad, and like I'm glad nobody in the chat, like a lot of the chat and people who listen to the show, like really didn't like SGA, like just did not like SGA. And it's I like Ant, and it is not his fault that this stuff has been hoisted on him. So I'm not going to slander him too much other than to say this is what the superstar development path is like. In 2022, when Luka got to this point in the Western Conference Finals, and granted, the team wasn't built enough around him, but you could also see from him, there were things he had to get better at. And it's just the path. And so it's really, it's kind of actually really fun to think about Luka then versus now, because I think he is somehow a more complete player. Better defense, knows when to pick his spots. I've enjoyed watching him a great deal.
Yeah, I really like Ant a lot too. Love his personality, love his game. Like the only thing that he has going against him is just he's being pushed so hard, and it's just like, I mean, come on, man. It's like you see folks saying he's Michael Jordan, younger Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan at the same age, I think by this age, I think he scored 53 points. Huh?
He was entering he's like 1 year into his NBA career. He's 22.
Yeah. At 22 was year 2 when he was injured.
Sure. When
he was injured, I checked that. But he in the playoffs that year, he scored 63 points against the Celtics.
The Celtics, so, that was the Larry Bird saying, that was God. Like it was
right. And I know Mikhail, I've seen interviews with Mikhail. Mikhail said that the one thing I noticed about Jordan is that he never gave up. He never, put his shoulders down or whatever. He was such a fighter. And I love Ant, but the comparisons are, it's not even too soon. It's just wrong. It's just, he's going to be a great player. And I think you had said that he's going to be the best American player that's come in a while.
Yeah.
And he might eventually be the best player in the NBA. But you can tell he's not Michael Jordan because I can just the body control, the movement, it's just not quite there. He's 2 inches shorter too, but it's not a fair
comparison to him for sure.
And one more thing I was going to say was, I've been saving tweets and stuff from people in Twitter who have been saying stuff like Luka Doncic will never win a championship. And I've been doing this for like a year now, just saving it. And I send them to myself in Messenger. And I can't wait, man, to just be like at these people, sending them messages. Can't wait to see Keyshawn Johnson, Stephen A. Smith, all these people. When the Mavericks win the championship, I know Stephen A. Smith's going to be like, Kyrie, he resurrected his career. Like, oh, man, I love Kyrie, but come on. It's the man. There is one man, and that's Luka. So,
hey, really appreciate you staying up late to talk with me.
All right, man. Take care.
Mm-hmm. All right, coming up next is Brandon. Hey, Brandon, what's up?
Kirk, revenge is best served cold, so Luka's giving him that cold, hard work, and I'm glad, too.
I like that, man. Good phraseology. What do you think? What takes do you have for this very – I guess we're only at midnight, so what's going on?
I don't know, man. I feel like Minnesota, they're beating themselves. Cat, to me, it kind of exposed him offensively, not being the dominant one-on-one player that – I thought he was. I don't watch a lot of Minnesota, so looking at what people say about him and going off of his accolades, I always figured that he was a dominant guy with the ball. Mm-hmm. But it just kind of shows that he can't create his own shot. He needs somebody to kind of help him.
Well, and playoff ball is different where, it's like what separates great quarterbacks in the NFL, where you get second and third order looks, where you get help defense coming at different times during the 24-second shot clock. And we underestimate how great Luka is and Jokic is in this regard and other great players, because it's the ability to deal with that in real time. And that's very, very difficult. Like when Ant made that turnover at the end of the game, not really a wrong pass, but it's just him and his, like, they don't do that sort of stuff enough. And so it's a tough situation for him, but that's really what separates a guy like Luka and him.
It seemed like, and speaking of adjustments, Luka, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but it seems like Luka doesn't typically drive on the weak side, but today he found a way to draw people on the weak side so he could kick it out to a perimeter shooter. So he definitely adjusted his game and kind of, made the other guys step up. But I feel like, Josh Hardy, those guys, even Exum, they did enough not to get in the way. And like I made a comment earlier, Exum, he was in the game. He didn't turn over the ball. He didn't let, Edwards get crazy points. So, in terms of a role player, I feel like he kind of, did what he needed to do. And,
yep.
I feel like they played consistent enough to where they didn't let Minnesota dominate them, which is what I would expect out of those three. So that was a win to me.
Love it. Well, thanks, man. You got anything else for us? Thanks for staying up late.
That's it, man. Appreciate it, Kirk.
All right. Talk soon. Okay, we got 3 more folks, and then I'm going to get to work on other Mavs stuff because I actually started writing another article. David McCorkle, you're joining the show. Hit that unmute button and come talk to me. What's going on? Give David a second here. He may not know he's in here. That sometimes happens with these live shows. All right. We're going to give David another chance here in a minute. We're going to go to Mavs 122. Are you there? How you doing tonight?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Well, I can. Welcome to the show. What's going on?
Yeah. We'll go Mavs first and foremost. But no, I just wanted to give I felt like earlier you guys were talking about role players outside of Kyrie and Luka. And I felt like y'all mentioned everybody except for Josh.
Josh was awesome.
I wanted to give a special kudos to Josh, who has been playing phenomenal defense thus far this series. So just a special little kudos to him.
6 boards, led the team in plus minus, and more importantly, really, Josh is a guy I think that when things are going great, he's outstanding. But then I've also seen him struggle when things go poorly, and he really struggled in game 1. That foul at the end of the game, the missed dunk, like he had some other odd plays. And to be able to come back in and shake that off and play like none of that happened and get 6 key rebounds, because 6 is a lot for a guy like, because he's not a big guy. 6 is the 3rd most on the team actually behind Luka and Lively. So he was a really important player today.
Yeah. I thought that surprisingly, I think he was sloppy, obviously offensively game 1, but
sure,
he had a 25% defensive field goal rating.
Guys who were guarding him,
they were 1 of 4 when shooting on him game 1. So I felt like he did some pretty good defensive work, especially when he was the primary defender on Ant. I thought that he did a pretty decent job again on Ant this game whenever DJ Derrick Jones Jr. was out of the game. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to come on and say congrats, Mavs. But I did want to give a special kudos to Green. Obviously, the offensive production isn't necessarily there, but I think that he did so much great work in terms of defense, hustle, energy, rebounding. He was on the floor doing a lot of the Mavs run when they were, obviously coming back from some of those deficits. So
yes, he was. You're absolutely right. All right. Good talk. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, we definitely needed to highlight Josh some more there. She absolutely correct. All right. Tim from the Philippines coming up next. Tim, what's up?
Hey, go Mavs.
I like that shirt. Good for you. What's going on tonight?
It's actually just a custom shirt here in the Philippines. We just had it customized.
Outstanding. What's going on? What'd you think of the game?
It was a great game. I feel like the Wolves has let them slip or gave the game to us, right? Because we have missing free throws, the crucial two free throws from Kyrie, giving them a Chick-fil-A sandwich for the audience.
Love it.
So it was a crucial one, and it shows probably some youth from the Wolves as well. Some crucial turnovers. The ant passed out of bounds, right? So he gave us more possessions. We're able to execute, especially Luka Magic down the stretch, putting Rudy Gobert on skates. So that was very awesome. I really shouted a lot, and a lot of people here were shocked what's happening here in our
Always the
household.
best. That's always the best where people are like, "Are you okay?
Are you
I'm like,
okay?
oh yeah, oh yeah."
Yeah, it was
Just watching
crazy.
some basketball.
And I guess one more thing, it's I was impressed with, of course, the two bigs that we have. What catch and layup by
Daniel
what do you call
Gafford.
this Gaffney by Gaffney. Just kidding. It's crazy, right? The layup falling down, and one key contribution also aside from Josh Green, the caller a while ago, it was Jaden Hardy. So
Yep.
it was a crucial 8 points, right? He's fearless. He's taken opportunity with the lack of contributions from Tim uh, and Exum, right? So he took advantage of that, and probably will see him more minutes for him
We'll see.
on the next few rounds.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I just hope that our threes will finally be there on game 3, our 3-point
Sure.
shooting, so that we will blow it away just like what we did in 2011 versus Lakers. Huh?
Well, so what the Wolves are doing, this is important. The Wolves are really, their defense right now is geared to push the Mavericks off the 3-point line. So if that never comes this series, that's why. It's not necessarily that the shooting's down. I mean, Derrick Jones Jr. is even being closed out on like he's a really good shooter. Whereas the Mavericks, you saw it tonight, like they are just okay with letting certain guys in the Wolves take semi-contested threes. So it may never come for the Mavericks, but the game plan that they have is put them up 2-0. So it's kind of hard to argue.
You're right. You're right. And if Nasrid doesn't have that phenomenal 3-point shooting, maybe we were beating them by 10 or 15.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll talk
All
soon,
right.
okay? Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirk.
All right. Last but not least, Mavericks legend, Yi Jilan.
What up, Kirk? Good win, good win.
How you doing?
I don't have too many of these Chinese players that I can throw out there, but
that's right.
I think I have like one more.
Well, we got what's Edie? Edie's coming soon. He's
true.
He's Canadian, Chinese Canadian. I don't know whatever. But yeah, he counts.
Yeah. I'll be waiting for that. So like for all of OKC and the Minnesota series, I just keep waiting for OKC or Minnesota just to like figure something out, and I'm just so scared that they're going to figure something out. So then in the first half, I'm like, they figured something out. Like Ant is attacking the basket, Cat is attacking the basket. They're getting PJ into foul trouble. We can't keep in front of them, and they're just crashing the boards. And I mean, we're making dumb mistakes. So we're down by 18. So I was like, okay, they figured something out, and I don't know how we're going to solve it. I don't really know what happened. Can you tell me what happened? Why they went away from that? Did they get tired? But because you saw the same thing I saw, Cat was going to the basket, Ant was going to the basket, and PJ, he couldn't keep in front of him for most of the time. He just quick catch, quick turnaround, and attack. So do you have an answer?
So Cat started missing. Cat actually shot the ball really poorly again. I think that's a mismatch for them that they just haven't been able to exploit. Anthony Edwards, I saw some stats. Somebody shared this. I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but he took a really bad fall. I want to say in game 6 against the Timberwolves, and he just hasn't shot the ball well or really attacked well since then, even though he looks just fine. So I think with how hard the Mavericks hit everyone when they go to the basket, at a certain point, you just stop wanting to do that. You get met by Lively, who is just a wall, and it's somebody else is always there. So it's, you can have a game plan to attack the Mavericks in the paint all you want. They're going to push you out of it if they're not getting into foul trouble. And so I think as the game wore on, the Mavericks defense tightened up. Everybody looked a little more alive, and it just slowly but surely, the Mavericks just overwhelmed them. It's really crazy to watch in real time.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, yeah, you just keep getting hit. And it wasn't like PJ was in foul trouble. It wasn't like Lively or Gafford were really in foul trouble either. So they weren't punishing him too much. So
yeah,
I can totally see that. And unfortunately, like PJ and DJJ have been kind of absent offensively through this whole series. You know, DJJ had 22 and 19 and 17 and against OKC, but he's 0 for 5 from 3. PJ is 2 from 12 so far in the series. And like you said, maybe they just won't be hitting twos, but I don't know. They're not going to – I don't know how good offensively they're going to be. So I guess it's up to Gafford and Lively to really pick it up.
Sure, because Lively and Gafford basically weren't hitting anything over Chet last round.
Yeah.
And so to watch that they weren't scoring over Chet, but they are scoring over Rudy Gobert is weird.
Yeah, I thought he was going to just shut down all of the lobs and just everything in the paint. But, yeah, they've been doing pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, we eked out both of these wins, I think. I mean, I'd love being on the other side, but it wasn't like we blew them out. So I'm still, cautiously optimistic.
Healthy respect is the best. Yeah. And I think that's the best way to go about approaching the series.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Kirk, man. See you next time.
That's right. Talk soon. Okay, quick shout out before we go to Michael Stetler saying, I embraced 3 strangers at the concert I was at when the buzzer blew. Thanks for all the great content. Do Dang says, I begrudgingly have to give Kid credit playing Hardy more than THJ. He also gave us a $2 super sticker. Thank you so much. Neil McCoy says, Luka's going to need that Supermax to pay for all his kids and their trips to Cancun. Harden, Dort, Shea, Ant, Gobert, MFFL. Love that comment, Neil. That's funny. Shout out to my man Henry, not hopping on because I'm tired, but if the Mavs win it all, Kyrie revenge season against Boston. And then a shout out to 7 Harry Lime. Thanks so much. All right, guys, you guys have been great. We're going to be back on Sunday, probably a little bit earlier because the Mavericks play at 7 o'clock on Sunday night, which means roughly 9:30 game end, which means likely pod going live at 10 p.m. We'll have a lot of stuff over at MavsMoneyball.com. I may actually write something else besides gamers, and we will see what we can do. Everybody be good. Thanks so much for your support and for hanging out. Everyone have a great start to your weekend. Go Mavs.
Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.